Welcome, everyone. Please be seated. Good afternoon. My name is Michael Hassler, and I am the Program Director of the Master of Science in Business Analytics. It is my distinct honor and privilege today to welcome you to the commencement ceremony for the 2015 graduating class of the Master of Science in Business Analytics program. Graduation ceremonies are happy occasions for all involved, the students, family, friends, and faculty, and this one is no exception. However, I would argue that this one is exceptional along several dimensions. You can't have a great academic program without top-notch faculty. We've been particularly blessed with some of the very best faculty from across the McCombs School and the rest of the University of Texas campus. Faculty, without you, we could not have accomplished what we celebrate here today, and we hope you will accept our heartfelt thanks. I want to, yes, absolutely. I want to specifically recognize the faculty who are with us today: Carlos Carvalho, Jim Dyer, Steve Gilbert, Genaro Gutierrez, Sandy Leeds, Doug Morris, Raghu Rao, Tom Sager. Have I left anybody off? I think I caught everyone. All right. And Prabhadev Kanana. True. The full list of the faculty teaching in our program is in your printed program, so please take a look at that. You'll hear more today about the role that our corporate sponsors have played in creating and developing this degree program, and yes, hiring our students, importantly. I want to particularly thank our partners from Walmart and Deloitte Consulting for the early and substantial commitment they made to this program that enabled us to move so quickly to get things off the ground. Today, obviously, we have Jonathan Trishul from Deloitte Consulting here to speak with us, so another indication of the broad range of support that Jonathan and Deloitte Consulting have given to our program. It allowed us to get things off the ground quickly, and we have representatives from several of our corporate partners and recruiting companies that have come today, and we want you to know how much we appreciate your involvement with our program and your trust in the quality of the students that are graduating today. So just a quick show of hands, if I have anybody in the audience, at least I was told that we were going to have several of our recruiting companies. Could you raise your hand? Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here today and for your ongoing support. We really appreciate it. Today's celebration is also exceptional for the faculty and staff as we get to reflect upon where we've been and how far we have come in such a short amount of time. Many of us remarked at how it seems as though you all just showed up for orientation like last week, and all of a sudden here we are at graduation. This class contains students from all over the world with a wide variety of backgrounds that include engineers, consultants, bankers, an entrepreneur from India, someone who worked on the best analytics movie ever, Moneyball, a rock climbing instructor, an ESPN sports statistician, a legislative intern, a lawyer, college and professional athletes, and several authors have published articles on topics related to analytics. Each of you brought something unique to the program, and you'll always have a special place in our hearts. We very much appreciate the fact that you stepped away from some of those activities to come join us in this program. It was a big thrill for us when you showed up last June, and it's an even bigger thrill to see you finish the program and earn your degrees this weekend. You should know that you've exceeded our very high expectations, and you have made us very happy we could continue this program with such a strong group of students who would uphold and enhance the reputation of the MSBA program, McCombs, and the University of Texas. You're a testament to the excellence of the university and McCombs and have earned a rightful place along the other stellar graduating classes that the university regularly produces. Among our great faculty and staff, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge the incredible group that developed and runs this program. Please indulge me and let me take a moment to say thank you specifically to Hillary Patterson, Candace Lewis, and Lainey Hoffman. Hillary's the first person who was hired into the program after me, and she's critical to the success of our program. You all know that, at least for most of you, Hillary was very likely the first person you ever talked to at UT about this degree, and this program would not be where it is without Hillary. Candace joined Hillary and me just before we launched our first class last year, and she's delivered a level of energy, enthusiasm, and professionalism that is unrivaled among her peers. In her primary role as the person responsible for corporate relations, Candace has made an enormous impact on our program and has played a pivotal role for many of you in your career searches. We've also had Lainey Hoffman working closely with us for this year, and I know she's helped several of you preparing for recruiting and interviews. Lainey, you're a critical and valued part of our team. And so please join me in recognizing Hillary, Candace, and Lainey for their tremendous work on this program. Furthermore, today's ceremony is exceptional because this class of wonderful, high-quality graduates is relatively modest in size compared to some of the other graduation ceremonies that are going on across the university today. So for all of us, but perhaps especially the family members and friends who have joined us, rest assured that this is the commencement version of a sprint or perhaps a medium-distance run, not a marathon. So we all promise to make this a celebration you can enjoy and not endure. So therefore, before we proceed, let's just take a moment to enjoy today, to appreciate what it means to maintain and grow a world-class graduate program at the university, and most importantly, to recognize these students and their commitment and hard work. At this time, it's my honor to introduce the chairman of the Department of Information Risk and Operations Management, Dr. Prabhadev Kanana. Dr. Kanana has been the chairman of the IROM department since September of 2011 and is a university distinguished teaching professor, holds the William H.C. Centennial Professorship in Business. Dr. Kanana received his B.Tech in Chemical Engineering from the National Institute of Technology, Karnataka, and his MBA and Ph.D. from the University of Arizona. His research and teaching interests are in global sourcing, e-business value assessment, and virtual communities. Dr. Kanana is a recipient of the National Science Foundation Career Award and holds virtually every major teaching award conferred by the University of Texas and the McCombs School of Business. We would be here all the day if I listed them all. He is a well-honored professor at the university. So without further delay, Dr. Kanana.
Thank you, Mike. Congratulations to the graduating class of 2015. And a special welcome to the family and friends who have been here from all over the US, China, UK, and India. Last year, at the same commencement, I said, the inaugural batch, that they are very special because they are inaugural batch, and they have set a very high bar for every future batch. Today, I have reset that bar even higher in all dimensions. The GMAT scores, GPA, placement, and starting salary have all outpaced the last year's dimensions. Even better is that you have set a very high bar for other competing programs across the nation. Many of them have followed us very quickly, and many more will follow soon in the West Coast, I think 3 of them. I was very glad to share a proposal with many of these schools. Everybody has asked for that. Competition is good. Thanks to all of you, we look very good. Furthermore, you are special since this is my last year as a department chairman. As administrators, we always like to create a legacy, and we look back and say, I did it. Okay? And there's no exception, including me. I can look back with great satisfaction of creating this very successful program in 3 years. We never thought we'll get it off the ground for 2 years, but we did it in 3 months. But the success actually has to rest on an excellent team we have here. I know Professor Hastler acknowledged everybody else, and I need to acknowledge Professor Hastler. Enormous energy in creating this program and making it successful. Of course, he is with a wonderful team. I think we already acknowledged Candace, Hillary, and Lainey. Thanks again for one of the most fascinating set of staff we have in business school and probably the university itself. Their energy, passion, and commitment are absolutely unmatched. I know how much they care for every one of you, and I have personally seen them high-fiving every time somebody accepts an offer. And it just happened about half an hour ago. Yeah. Another student accepted our offer, so they all high-fived. And they even actually high-five and jump in joy when everybody gets an offer. So start to end, they take care of all of you. So they deserve our appreciation. This program is truly interdisciplinary that cuts across our department, which is a very big name, Information Risk and Operations Management. We have marketing, finance, accounting, computer science, and engineering. And we had 29 faculty members who signed on to this program. before getting approval for this, we had to get actual written confirmation from all these 29 faculty members. And most of them are here. Thank you all for participating in this program as well. I confess that there was a great deal of anxiety and uncertainty when we started this, because this is a self-funded program. So the deans will only look at the bottom line. Are we making profits? Or we'll say excess revenue. So we were not sure about the number of applications, acceptance rate, job placement, starting salary, and the most important thing is the viability of the program itself. We broke even the very first year, and I'm sure the dean is very happy about it. But we severely underestimated the number of applicants in our program. And definitely we need your skills. Hopefully your predictive analytics skills will be of use here, but we don't have much data, only 2 years data. The number of applications, however, jumped 50% each year, and this year we had another 50% increase in the applications with an acceptance rate of 12 to 13%, and overall people coming just 8% of the total applications. And comparing to any program, I think we are probably the lowest acceptance rate in the country today. Our curriculum continues to evolve. Unfortunately, Brandon Price is not here, but just to let him know that his magnum opus feedback documents, which run into pages and pages, are taken really seriously. Of course, I never embraced his comments openly, but I just did it anyway. Despite extraordinary busy life as MSBA students, some of our students have excelled beyond classroom. Congratulations to Lydia Chen, Anusha Danda, Anusha Munagi, Jacob Griffith, and Ketan Muda for receiving the second place in the data hack UT competition that USAA and MSBA hosted it. In the same competition, Mengyun Liu, Lexi Wang, Anne Shi, Evelyn Zhu received the third place. Congratulations to both teams. Apart from them, we have Nirav, Basant, and Saurav Tripathi take time to blog about the perils of statistical overfitting. I'm sure our stat faculty will be happy about it. And experience in the MSBA program. And Monisha Kumar blogs about her experience and wrote something very nice that summarizes our program very well. My knowledge is not limited to which button I should press or which abbreviated command I should type on R or Python, but rather the underlying mathematical and statistical principles behind those functions. It gives you the right statistical framework, the right programming foundation, and the right business context. Well said, Monisha. I'm going off script here. When we started this program this year, I knew 2 students who applied, Daniel and Forrest. I saw them when they were 18 years old. They were still growing. Now I had to look up, really look up, because they're all 6'3" or 6'4". Before them, actually, I knew 2 more students, Megan and Kelly. I don't see where they are. So I knew them much earlier, when they were probably 14 or so. And I knew one student, Ketan, when he was still wearing diapers. Okay. So our reputation and achievements reinforce the extraordinary trust many of our recruiters have placed on us. It is incomplete if we do not recognize few of them here. Dr. Naveen Nauka, the director of IBM Research, presided over the very first meeting we had about analytics. Ms. Kay Cullum and Charles Hawley, who is the CFO of Walmart, they were extraordinarily supportive of the program and gave a huge seed funds for us to jumpstart this program. And today's commencement speaker, Mr. Jonathan Trishul from Deloitte Consulting, was at the forefront in building this program and helping again with a large seed of money from Deloitte. Personally, I learned a lot from you on how to communicate and how to negotiate. Let me say that he's one tough negotiator. I don't want to go into the details. Thank you, Jonathan, for all the support. Without their support, this program would not have gotten the national recognition that we have today. Many other companies, some of them here, have come forward to support us. We thank every one of you individuals and companies in supporting our program. Let me take this opportunity to thank our Dean, Tom Gilligan, who unfortunately was not able to come today, who will soon leave us to become the director of Hoover Institute at Stanford, and Senior Associate Dean Jay Hartzell for the extraordinary support throughout the last several years. The program is in safe hands under our interim dean, Laura Starks, and the incoming department chair, Steve Gilbert, and we are confident we'll reach even greater heights. Frankly, there has been smiles all around because this program has been very successful. So thanks again to Dr. Mike Hassler, Hillary, Candice, and Laney Your energy and passion have made this program a stellar one. To end, you are our greatest ambassadors of the program. Your success is our success. We hope you bring talented students back to us, help recruit our students, and spread brand awareness. Hope all 50 graduating students today are linked for life. If you've done social network analysis, we know the cluster coefficient should be equal to 1. Good luck as you commence your next phase in your journey. So now let me introduce our interim dean of the McComb School of Business, Laura Starks. It takes a long time to describe her achievements, but I'll go very shortly, brief. Laura Starks is Associate Dean for Research at this time, and soon will be the interim dean starting this fall. She is the Charles and Sarah C. Regents Chair in Finance, Director of the AIM Investment Center. She teaches undergraduate and graduate courses on environmental, social, and governance investing, global financial strategies, and other finance topics. She was a chairman of the Department of Finance for 9 years. She has served on the board of directors of the 4 national academic finance organizations. These are impressive associations: the American Finance Association, the Financial Management Association, the Society of Financial Studies, and the Western Finance Association. She's an independent director for CREF retirement accounts, which a lot of us have, retirement funds. So we hope as an independent director we'll keep it sane. She's also with the TIA CREF mutual funds, serves on the Investment Advisory Committee for the Employees Retirement System of Texas, the Board of Governors of the Investment Company Institute, and the Governing Council of the Independent Directors Council. She has also served on the 2013 Strategy Council and the 2014 Expert Panel for the Norwegian Government Pension Fund, the world's largest sovereign wealth fund in the world. So we turn today's program over to her for the introduction of the commencement speaker. Thank you.
As the incoming interim dean, it's my pleasure and honor to join you in your ceremony today and to join the parents and the students and the friends of this class of the MSBA program for this momentous commencement celebration. During your academic pursuits, you have gained an important amount of knowledge, formed strong bonds with each other, built trust across different personalities, which is an experience for you all, and you've extended your network for years to come. You've brought passion to your education, a passion combined with the knowledge and skills you have acquired, which should translate into enhancing your careers and your future prospects. As you make your way, build upon that trust, value those networks, reinvest that passion through your continuing involvement with the McComb School. We want to see you again over and over. Maybe some of the faculty, but we want to see you again over and over again. So join the alumni network, accept a committee placement, serve on one of our boards, give your time, and bring your donations to help the future students in your program. Our commencement speaker today is a valued partner of ours who continually demonstrates deep commitment to the McComb School and particularly to the MSBA program. Jonathan Trishul has been a champion of this program since its inception, while Deloitte Consulting has provided significant organizational support. Jonathan himself has provided the thought leadership that allowed us to launch this program, and he personally served as a catalyst for Deloitte's foundational financial support. Jonathan is a strategy partner and member of the board of directors at Deloitte Consulting. He has 20 years of professional experience advising senior leaders in public, private, and nonprofit organizations. He works in the areas of corporate strategy and innovation, marketing effectiveness, digital transformation, and customer experience management. Jonathan is the lead client services partner for Dell Computer. In this capacity, he has P&L responsibility for all Deloitte services to Dell globally. Previously, he was the U.S. strategy practice leader, where he led a practice of 300 partners and staff and was instrumental in the acquisition of the Monitor Group in 2013. Jonathan's client work spans a broad range of iconic brands, including American Airlines, American Express, AT&T, BMW, Dell, Disney, Neiman Marcus, Porsche, Sprint, USAA, Verizon, Yamaha, and others. He is affiliated with several nonprofit organizations, including the American Film Institute, the ARC, the Boy Scouts of America, Entrepreneurs Foundation at the Capitol Factory, Hunt Institute for Humanity, March of Dimes, and Safe Place. So it's a real honor that he has been able to provide time to us as well, given how much that he does. His personal areas of passion include politics, road tripping, hunting, fishing, and motorsport racing. Prior to his consulting career, Jonathan held positions in the high-tech industry and as an intern in the U.S. Senate. He has an MBA in International Management from the University of Dallas and a BA in Comparative Political Science from the University of North Texas. Please join me in welcoming Jonathan here today.
Well, thank you so much to all of the UT faculty. I tell you, it's very humbling to be up here when you hear about the prestigious awards and backgrounds of the faculty, and I can tell you that for many years I've worked with various universities, and I've really appreciated the passion and entrepreneur spirit in particular in launching this program. So thank you so much for being here. I'm very humbled to do so. The unanimous advice I always get about commencement speeches is to keep them very short. And so I will commit to do that today. So not much standing between you and celebration in Austin as a new graduate, which Austin has a lot to offer on a Friday in that regard. So I will try to be pretty brief. I'm going to talk a little bit about Deloitte's commitment to the program and just give some maybe personal stories that might help in terms of launching your careers. First, congratulations. It's a very exciting time. I was just kind of reflecting as I sat here. I graduated from business school 20 years ago. You blink, and that time flies, I think, as many in the audience would recognize. To this day, even though I've been in professional world 20 years, I've been a partner at Deloitte for 10 years, I've been on the board for several years, my parents still don't know what it is that I do. And so one of the things that I'm going to do today is brag on you a little bit for the family and friends that are in the room here, because it's a really exciting point in your career, and frankly, you're in a really hot spot in the market, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. First, I have a confession to make. As was mentioned, I'm not a McCombs graduate, so I'm a little bit out of school here in terms of an alumnus, but I will tell you that I do have some special ties to the university. I've been recruiting here for about a decade. I looked at the numbers again this year. Our average hire rate out of the University of Texas broadly for the last 10 years has been 200 students per year. We hired 200 this year, to give you a size of the relationship that we have with the University of Texas. And so it's a really important relationship to us. It's the largest school for us in terms of the U.S. that we recruit at. And I've personally been involved along the way with a lot of the interviewing and hiring. But I also have a personal connection. I'll just, if you'll indulge me for a moment, I was dating my now wife at the time. She was my girlfriend when I was over at her parents' house for the first time. And she had told me we had to kind of hurry and meet them and get out because her father had someone coming in for company. And the timing was a little off, so we were leaving as he was coming in, and he introduced me to Red McCombs. And I thought to myself, well, this is the car guy. And my father-in-law, Bob May, was the dean of the business school here at the time. And, of course, back then I had no concept of any of this. I was just chasing my wife. So my ties with McCombs go way back. Dean May, or Bob as I call him, was spending time with Red McCombs then trying to get him to commit to the business school. And so I was able to see that hatch a little bit, even though I didn't know it at the time. So my ties are personal also. As I mentioned, I had a board meeting earlier this week in Dallas, and we were there with our CEO, new CEO, first female CEO in the history of the firm. So that's an exciting thing for us. We were talking with Kathy Engelbert, our new CEO, about investments, and I will tell you that analytics and innovation are at the top of the list. We're going to invest $1 billion in this area over the next 5 years. It is the spot to be in the marketplace right now. I would tell you, if I was seeking a graduate degree in business right now, this is the field I would seek it in. So for, again, all the families and friends out there to understand the power of data, and more importantly, the ability to translate that into insights, is at the heart of everything we do. Of course, we're a professional services organization. We're the largest private partnership in the world, and we work a lot with Fortune 500 companies. And so I'm able to sit in these CEO meetings and boardrooms and understand what issues are facing these companies. And whether you're going off to work at a corporation or in a governmental entity, healthcare, financial services, retail, it doesn't matter. At the heart of all of it is data and transcribing that into insights. It drives every part of business. And the reason we are so challenged today to hire the right talent for this is the technology is moving so fast. I was working in Excel spreadsheets and building pivot tables for regression analysis. You have machine learning. You have algorithm-based approaches to data. You have R. You have artificial intelligence. You have Watson. I'm jealous in a way because you are really pioneers on a new frontier in terms of how data will be leveraged both in business and other settings. So it's a very exciting time. I would tell you that I see it doing nothing but growing. So I sort of hold on to your hats, and I really think that you're well positioned to call your shots, both with your initial job, but frankly, you may find that this is one step in terms of many down that path. On the personal side, I thought I would just share some of my lessons learned over 20 years. I mentioned I have the privilege to sit and learn from some of the best, and that's really been, I think, the most exciting thing to me about consulting. I've traveled all over the world and worked with a whole variety of companies and worked with giants and stood behind giants. And I'm going to share a few things that I really challenged myself in thinking about this presentation. If I took the 20 years, what were sort of the top 3 or 4? Because, again, I do appreciate the need for brevity. So one thing I would leave you with is first impressions matter. I think that people underestimate first impressions. I believe they're everything. I always tell the folks in my practice that I coach around presentation development, et cetera, that once you get past the first 2 slides, you either have them or you don't. Or you get past the first 5 minutes, you either have them or you don't. And I think the need to focus on that never changes. It's a lifelong thing. I have not perfected any of these things. I'm still aspiring. In fact, I'll tell you a short story. About 3 years ago, we had a very large proposal for a very large project with one of the airlines that was merging. And we were competing against McKinsey, and we had been down-selected, and one firm was going to be chosen to do this work. It was 8-figure work. It was a really high-stakes environment. And so we prepared our proposals. We had prepared all of our remarks. I was the youngest, most junior partner in the room by many years. I was kind of the bag carrier. Our CEO was in the room at the time, as were 3 or 4 very, very senior mergers and acquisitions partners. And I think, we had this thing down to a science surgically. We went in, we introduced ourselves, we started cranking on the presentation. We were feeling very good about everything when someone down at the end of the table raised her hand, and she said, "Would you like us to introduce ourselves?" And that was it. That was the first impression. We ended up losing that project, not because we weren't qualified, but because we made a bad first impression. The people that were in that room, as senior as they were, 30, 40 years experience, we were just so focused on getting our message across. So, of course, we tried to do a lot of backpedaling at that point, and we had delivered a really great presentation. But I'm convinced to this day the reason we lost that project is because we didn't stop to listen to the people that were in the room and focus on them too. And so first impressions matter. I would just tell you to focus on that regardless of your setting, whether it's in a presentation setting or meeting someone socially in business. First impressions are really important. The second thing is, along the same lines, my observation after seeing all the technology coming and going and growing and where we are right now is that at the end of the day, there are very few businesses that aren't people businesses. At the end of the day, all the technology and the tools, and in your case, the data, don't lose track and don't lose sight of people. I think at the end of the day, people like to do business with those that they get along with and those that they interact well with and those that respect them. I've seen this play out multiple times throughout my career, and I think that sometimes we get very busy in our schedules and with all of our mobile technology and iPads and iPhones and our computers and all the power of the data analysis tools that are out there we just talked about. At the end of the day, someone has to go action all of that in some setting, and it's people that go do that. I recall a story. We were again, in a situation where we had a client meeting, and the client was pretty upset with us. Someone had done something not really well, and you know, we were kind of leaving that meeting feeling not too good about the meeting. You know, the business is tough. And we were walking. We were all late for our flight. I was at BMW in Woodcliff Lake, New Jersey. And we were trying to get to Newark to get back to Texas, and it was late. And we went out onto the deck where our car was parked. And one of my colleagues noticed that someone needed a jumper cable. And so, you know, it wasn't really what we felt like doing at the time, but we helped this person out. And it was a very junior young person. It was clear that we weren't gaining any executive favor by doing this, but it was the right thing to do. And we were at the stage on that project where the client was either going to buy the next piece of work or not. And we were feeling pretty bad coming out of that meeting. Long story short, I got a call from the executive the next week that I guess his window oversees that parking garage, and he kind of saw what happened. And the impression was very favorable on him about us as a team. I think that it saved our butts that day because one of our staff had kind of messed up a little bit on the analysis. That happens, but we recovered, and it ended up being a very long-term relationship. And you know, the lesson I took away from that day is that you know, what you do and what you are and people matters, regardless of what else is going on in business. Third, be available for the small stuff or the big stuff. If you talk to anyone that works with me, they'll tell you I have a little bit of a slogan about that, which is nothing's too big and nothing's too small. I think I've learned over the years that you want to be counted on to be able to do big things, and I suspect most of you are very excited to take on big things, but also don't be afraid to take on something small and do a really, really good job with it. I have found that particularly those that work with and above you will appreciate that. I have a little thing I do for when we put a new CEO in, this is my third one. I send an email, and I basically say not only congratulations, but you know, give me something to do, and I say, give me something small, give me something large, just, you know, give me something to do. And I think that, you know, as the Admiral mentioned in the commencement, you know, if you can't be trusted to do small things, you can't be trusted to do big things. So, you know, reach out for both. Don't be afraid to take on something small and do a really, really good job at it, and then grow and build bigger. Lastly, I would recommend, whether it's Myers-Briggs or some other approach, if you haven't done this, figure out your personality type. I wish someone would have had me done this much, much, much earlier. Deloitte has a proprietary methodology we came up with around this called business chemistry, but it really doesn't matter which version you use. I'm sure some of the academics would argue about which ones are accurate or not, but to me they're all categorically pretty similar. And I'll tell you a little story about ours. We hired a neuroscientist, and the challenge that we put to her was, you know, it's been a while since Myers-Briggs came out. We'd like to sort of the newest, latest research on this topic. And we paid her a lot of money to go off and do that and come back. And she came back with 4 archetypes. And I'll share them with you, but again, it doesn't matter whether you go take our test, which is online and you can take and it's free, or just pick some personality test. She starts the story this way, that back in sort of the caveman days, because she really does believe that you're born with quite a bit of your personality. She believes you can adjust the last quarter of it, but 75% of it you've just got, particularly at this stage. So she talks about evolution and talks about the caveman days. You have 4 coming over a hill, and they see a bunch of really bright red flowers. And there's one in the group that says, oh my gosh, look at those flowers. Look how beautiful they are. We've never seen anything like this before. Oh my gosh, I can only think of the possibilities that we can do with these things. We can paint with them. We can put them, you know, next to our beds in the ground. We can do this with them. We can do that with them. And that's a pioneer. And so, you know, the pioneers in the world are always out there thinking about different ways to do things, and they're excited and they're sort of fueled by that. I would argue that there was some pioneer behavior here in starting this program. The person next to him, the caveman next to him, said, whoa, hold on. You know, we've never seen these things before. They could be poisonous. You know, why wouldn't we have seen them already? We're very happy as we are right now. We don't need to have anything to do with the flowers. Let's just leave them be. We don't know. And that's the guardian. And the guardian personality is someone who's pretty rules-oriented, very dependable, pretty conservative, a little bit the opposite of a pioneer. Third person says, well, hold on. Let's just sit down. I think we can talk about this together. And I'm sure that we can reach some kind of, you know, mutual agreement. That's the integrator. Integrators like to bring people together and create teaming and create collaboration. They tend to be able to see all sides of something. And then lastly, the fourth person looks at the bunch and says, okay, everyone be quiet. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the dog. We're going to have the dog eat one of the flowers. We're going to see what happens. Okay? So everybody just, and that's the driver. And drivers like to take control. They tend to be natural-born leaders. They tend to want to take risks and go out there and lead folks. It does not matter what type of person you are, because without all four, the world just would not operate, and business would not operate. I can tell you from living in that world. But I think it's very helpful to know what type you are. And nobody's 100% one thing or the other, by the way. You're a mix. But usually have a dominant trait. And as you listen to that, you may sit there and think to yourself, I'm kind of this type. The reason that matters so much, and the reason I encourage you to do a little bit of soul searching on your personality type as you go on into your new careers in business, is that you will, in business, meet all kinds of different types of people. You'll interact with drivers, you'll interact with integrators, you'll interact with pioneers, and you interact with guardians. And to know what type you are and have a little bit of a sense of what type they are will allow you to know how to interact with them more effectively. And that's been a real game changer for me. It may not shock you to know that I tend to be a bit of a driver pioneer. And so when I sit down with somebody that's a integrator, for instance, and I just start getting down to business, it's nothing personal. I really do want to know how their kids are, and I care a lot about them, but it's just not the way I'm wired sometimes, so I have to slow myself down and have those conversations because they're important. So I would recommend that you really do some soul searching on that. I think you'll be glad. Everyone says you never remember what your commencement speaker says, so if you remember one thing, I would urge you to go out and kind of do some soul searching on that. So lastly, I just want to again tell you how excited we are to be part of this program. You really are the best of the best from our perspective. I hope that you take advantage of the opportunities that you have, regardless of what field you go into. And again, even though I'm not a graduate, I think I'm supposed to say hook 'em horns. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jonathan, for your inspiring remarks and dedication to the Macomb School and to our program. Now it's time for the Commencement Awards. And so before we get to that, something that's not on the program, and it's been hinted at a little bit earlier, and that is that today marks a special day for our MSBA program. And that is at the end of this summer, Dr. Kanana will be stepping down as the department chair for the Information Risk and Operations Management Department. And so while we will continue to have Dr. Kanana involved in the MSBA program as the academic director, as a professor, and in other leadership roles like I'm sure helping us with recruiting and with admissions and so on, his key role as department chair will be handed over to Dr. Steve Gilbert over the next several weeks. The key item, and I think the most important item for today, is that you should know that Dr. Kanana is the driver behind the degree you're receiving today. It's his baby. It's his brainchild. Without his leadership, tenacity, and passion for this degree and the opportunity that it represents for you, the students, and our department and school, we wouldn't be here today. As you students discovered during his class, Dr. Kanana expects quite a lot from his students and himself. Yeah, okay. That's a knowing smile. I have that same smile. All right. So I assure you it extends to his staff. I, along with Hillary and Candace, have been pushed, cajoled, and pulled toward goals for this degree that at times seemed impossible. The result of that vision and drive is sitting before you today, graduates with master's degrees in business analytics. It is my honor and privilege to present to Dr. Kanana a small token of our appreciation for his leadership. So if I could have Dr. Kanana come forward briefly. You can't read this from here, I'm sure, but it says, Program Founder presented to Prabhadev Kanana with gratitude for innovation, teaching excellence, and continued leadership of the Texas MS in Business Analytics. With great regard and affection. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, let's get on to some other stuff. All right, so we asked our current class to vote on an outstanding student and an outstanding faculty member to be celebrated at the commencement ceremony today. Candace and Hillary will help me to recognize the outstanding students. This year has proved to be a challenging one for our students, and they're required to balance a course load much heavier than what most graduate students carry while working their way through a rigorous recruitment process. You guys remember the fall, right? Or is that still kind of a blur? All right. When we asked all of our students to select a member of their class to receive an Outstanding Student Award, we asked them to have 3 criteria in mind: academic performance, teamwork, and positive impact on the class. We actually have a tie. And when I mean a tie, I mean we went down several levels, and it came out, the numbers were exactly the same. This is not a rounding error. They came out exactly the same. So rather than flipping a coin, we said, let's have 2 awards. So we have 2 outstanding students of the year, and they are Rami Antun and Jacob Griffiths. So, all right. Let me, hang on one second. All right, so, but you've got something for each of them. So, Rami, let me tell you a couple of the comments that came that came along with the survey. Over the course, this is from you. All right, this isn't me. This is you saying this. Over the course of the year, Rami has not only excelled with in-class material, but has also carried himself with a positive attitude when working in teams and has always been willing to help others that might be struggling with the material. Someone else said, Rami is not only an exceptionally bright student, he is a model teammate for group projects. He works well with everyone and is an exemplary model for MSBA students. And finally, honestly, if Rami doesn't win this, I would demand a recount. And we did. We recounted. Trust me on this, multiple times. So he's got an award. It's good. I've been fortunate enough to work with him in a number of groups, and he's done more than his fair share in every one. He's great at coding, understanding concepts, presenting, and getting work done in general. On top of that, he's thoughtful and listens to others' ideas, is always in class, and is always willing to help explain something. I feel as if he's the perfect representative of this program. Rami. Stay right there. All right, Mr. Griffith. A couple of quotes about Jacob. Jacob is both the nicest and the smartest person in our program. He's a great team project member! Exclamation point. Super smart and kind. Very approachable if you have questions on the slides or class notes. He explains the concepts well. There are groups of people that hang out together in the program, but he seems to hang out and talk to many people, different people from many different groups. He seems to be the most connected person in the degree program to everyone. He's very sincere, great guy to hang around with, probably the hardest worker in the class. So, Jacob, congratulations. Okay, let me flip back here. Got a little bit of work. Okay, and now I would like to have another student come forward. I will now introduce you to Monisha Kumar. While she comes up, Monisha represented this program in the Graduate Student Assembly. And we thought it appropriate that she present the award to our outstanding faculty member for 2015 as selected by the students. So, Monisha.
Good afternoon, faculty, staff, family and friends, and of course, my distinguished peers. It is my honor today to stand before you and present the MSBA 2015 Outstanding Faculty Award. Before that, however, On behalf of my entire cohort, I'd like to take a moment to recognize each and every one of our professors. We, the students, are testament to the continued success of the MSBA program, and we could not have done it without the guidance and support of the faculty. You have shared with us your time, your knowledge, and your invaluable advice. You've been there for us beyond what just the syllabi said, supporting us with our job applications and career goals. Most importantly, you have inspired us to rise to every challenge and push the boundaries of analytics as we move forward into our respective career paths. For that, we thank you. Today, we recognize Dr. Kumar Muthuraman. True to the subject he taught, Dr. Muthuraman optimized the learning of this group of students with very stochastic learning patterns. From knowing all of our names on the first day of class to encouraging us to work in groups not of our choosing, Dr. Muthuraman did not just interact with us, but invested himself into the learning and growth of our class. He simplified what might have been a very complicated subject into easy-to-understand material. I know that I speak for each and every one of us, and to quote one of my peers, we learn something interesting and new every second of his classes. Dr. Muthuraman always wanted us to speak up more, and today we do just that as we thank him in unison for being a fantastic professor and mentor to all of us.
So Dr. Muthuraman is actually in India right now, and I have his remarks, but let's get a picture out of the way here. Okay, so I can't put the right accent on, so I'm not going to try. All right? That would not be appropriate. But Dr. Muthuraman says, first, congratulations to all of you, the graduates, and to your families who are celebrating with you today. Unfortunately, I'm not able to attend today's event because of a prior commitment halfway across the globe. But I wish I was here to receive this wonderful honor in person. This honor means much to me since it is voted by you and because there are stellar professors teaching in this program. I am deeply humbled and surprised. I'd like to thank all my past students and Professor Kanana for taking the time and effort to give me constructive feedback on my teaching continuously. They played a central role in helping me get here. Teaching is fun when students participate and are deeply involved in the subject matter. I thank you for making this class fun to teach. You challenged me to think differently about how I teach, and I've become a better teacher each day I taught your class. Thank you, and hoping to hear back from you on how you used the material learned in your professional careers. Best wishes, and good luck with your journey into the professional world. Kumar Muthuraman. It's that time. It's time to individually recognize the members of the Macomb School of Business graduating class of 2015. So if I can have Dr. Starks and Dr. Kanana in place up there. I think we need to have people start. Let's get some students. Let's get some students. First row, Rami, come on up. Rami Antun. Max Bakshi. Nirav Basant. Sahil Batra. Caleb Blacklock. Deborah Ann Xiomara Cahill. Megan Chan. Monica Chan. Lydia Chen. Anusha Danda. Andy Ewing. And Gaurav Ghosh. Jacob Griffith. Allie Gross. Kimberly Hamrick. Jonathan Stewart Hutchinson. Katie James. Brian Kaufman. Ksenia Kolesnikova. Monisha Kumar. They all know why I'm breathing deep. All right. Sukumar Lagatapati. Gordon Lehrman. Lauren Renee Lidikin. Mengyin Liu. Jayanta Majumdar. Ketan Muda. Anusha Munangi. Kelly Murphy. Coleman Newell. Daniel Edward Novotny. Shankar Ramasubramanian. Forrest Ripley. Chris Rorty. Ben Rohde. Mark Schneider. Jiaoqi Che. Yuan Yi Shen. Rodolfo Enrique Soto Gonzalez. Sherry Sun. Connor Patrick Tierney. Sarav Tripathi. And Varun Velamuri. Mengyu Wang. Britton Waymeyer. Hart Wilmarth. Yuan Zhu. Andrea Shui. Qianxiao Zhu. Now we have everybody seated. How about one big final round of applause for the MSBA class of 2013? And now, It is a tradition that we join our new graduates in singing the Eyes of Texas. So would everyone please stand, and we'll have the orchestra play the Eyes of Texas for us. And after the song, please remain standing during the faculty procession. Getting away from the microphone. Please.